We have offensive lineman Doug Nestor. Questions for Doug?
So Doug, when a team goes through some disappointments, had some adversity, as an older guy, how do you try to be a leader and handle that? Do you talk a lot? What do you do?
Talk a lot as in, I do talk a lot as in like going up to them individually, checking on them, how they're doing mentally and everything, making sure they're processing this the correct way and making sure that we're staying on task each and every day and just keep going to work. That's all we can do.
What's going to change this week to change the result from the last two games? What do you guys got to do as a team?
During this time of adversity, all we can do is, just stick together and make sure we're all on the same page, defense and offensively, just become a cohesive group, really start playing, complementary football and just help each other out as much as we can.
Has there been any change or adjustments just when defenses stack the box and try to get CJ going more, even the run game overall? And does more of that need to happen?
I mean, we know that, teams are going to load the box and try to do different stuff against us, because our run game is what it is. And, being able to throw the ball like we have the past 2 weeks, I think helps set up that run game even more. So just being able to do that throughout the rest of the season will be very beneficial.
You guys went unbalanced a ton last week, flopping tackles. Now, how different is that for you when you do that? I mean, it's got to have a change, right?
It's a little bit of a change, just coming out of a different stance and everything. But, practicing it all week helps a lot. And so this is the second game we've done it. So I think it was a lot better this time and just getting used to it during the week, during practice.
What's the benefit of that from an offensive scheme?
Really, it brings in extra linemen. So we bring in Nick during that stuff. So it's really just you're just bringing in extra O-linemen and just unbalancing the O-line and just getting another blocker over there just to bring, to block, the loaded box that they bring.
Been hearing this a lot, not just, you just hear this watching different games and stuff. Teams are doing a lot more gap blocking than zone blocking, or going back to gap blocking. What's the differences between the two, and how much are you guys doing any of that?
Say it again?
Gap blocking and zone blocking, the differences between the two. And
so anytime I hear gap, I think of like counter power plays. I think we're doing a lot of both. We're running a bit of counter and a bit of inside zone.
Easier to block one than the other?
I feel like it's two completely different schemes in my mind. It's not easier or harder. I think it's all about who you have on that play.
Okay.
You have a favorite play that, as a tackle, you like?
Me personally, I love being able to pull. So anytime that I get to, get in space or move, so those are always my favorite plays. Like tackle pulls around the edge, those are one of my favorites. And then we have guard tackle pull. Those are always, just one of my favorite plays where I get to, get my momentum going and get into a block.
Old school trap, stuff like that?
Oh,
that's gap blocking, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that doesn't bother you. You like doing some of that stuff?
Yes.
Get out in space, though, and now maybe it's a defensive back. Obviously, you got 100 pounds plus on him, but hard to get your hands on somebody like that. What's the plus minus there?
So for those plays, you really have to trust whoever's running the ball. So their job is to help me set up that block as well. So my job is really just to somehow get my hands on them in any way, and that they're going to set up the block and read the block so I can really have a two-way go.
A little wrinkle they did with reverse motion with the wide receiver, and then use him as the lead blocker with Garrett following. Is that something that you worked on specifically for Oklahoma State, or is that something that's kind of been building in the package?
We've been building that pretty much all year, I would say. But, been using it the past couple weeks, against the defenses we've been seeing.
Right. It's kind of like a counter play, right?
Correct, yeah.
Doug, you've played an awful lot of football games. This is a question that probably nobody can answer, but win and lose, similar opponents. You win some games, you lose some games. Yeah, have you ever figured out why some games go right and some games go wrong, and if there's any string to it that attached to it?
It's really especially in the Big 12, all these teams are so talented. I say we're so close and, from top to bottom, one of the, closer of the Power 5. But I would say it comes down just to a few key plays, whether or not who makes the play from either team. It's always such a close game, and then who can make the more critical plays during those times, and who can have less errors during those plays.
Is there anything that causes one team to do it and one team not to, or
What is it?
is there anything that causes one team to do it on a given Saturday where maybe they wouldn't do it on the other Saturday, either make an error or make a play?
Attention to detail. How locked in the guys are, how hard they're straining, just really who comes out to play the hardest that week.
Garrett gets a little bit of a homecoming this week, if you will, right? Going back down to Florida and that sort of thing. Do you think that'll be good for him?
Yeah, for sure. I know he has a lot of friends and everything down in Florida, and they come up here as much as they can, but I'm sure he's going to be super excited to get down there.
Team you're facing is eager to get their first Big 12 win, so that's going to be, and they played well against Oklahoma last week, so certainly that's got your attention, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. They're a super talented team. Haven't got to much film yet. It's just Monday, so we'll start on it later this evening. But I know the offense is very explosive, and they have some super talented guys. And defensively, I know they have a pretty solid D-line. And just the defense overall can do their job.
More about you guys, though, what you guys got to do to fix the things that, you lose on a Hail Mary, and then you're up 24-20 going into the fourth quarter in a game it's hotly contested, and then, you drop a punt, and then kind of the roof caves in on you. So it's kind of a bit more about you guys a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're going to practice every day trying to, fix those mistakes so they won't ever happen again, because that's the main thing. We'll have mistakes, but just to make sure that they never come back. So go to work this week and, fix the finer details, still practice hard, everything we need to do.
Second half of your senior season, so days are starting to wind down a little bit for you. Do you think about it? Do you think, I only got 2 home games left in my college career? Does that run through your head at all?
It hasn't been until about today. I was actually, no, not you. I actually started thinking about it earlier. I started thinking about it earlier, thinking that it's about 30 some days left in my college career. Yeah. Wow. So, it's getting surreal.
You went through a senior day last year, though. So you sort of a practice run. You may have had some of those thoughts. I may not be coming back last year. So was that, make this easier or harder that you've already done it sort of once?
It makes it a little bit harder, honestly, because I know that this one, this senior day coming up will be the last one.
Doug, when you prepare for a team that you said has had some tough days against the run, right? So when you're preparing for a team, do you look at what you all do that might fit into some of their weaknesses? Or do you try to find out their soft spots and figure out how you guys can take advantage of that?
A little bit of both. And, like I said earlier, some of the defenses that we've been playing have shown us complete different looks because of, I feel like how we run the ball. So we also have to account for that because you never know what they're going to throw at us. So we really have to, here's some possible things that they could run. They've shown it once or twice. So really going into that type of game plan.
Right. And going back to the change-ups teams have thrown at you, I imagine it just temporarily short circuits you a little bit, but how do you recover? Is it on the sideline? Is it in the huddle? Like when does the recovery happen there?
So yeah, I mean, it's mostly just we got to talk it through. We have to explain everything that we saw during the drive to, Coach Moore and all the offensive coaches. And, each position group needs to do that so they can, formulate a game plan there on the sidelines. Just to, the biggest thing for us is communication with the coaches.
Last week, just more even front?
Yeah, that was because all the overload stuff. But, when they're playing odd, they've shown mostly just to play. Oklahoma State showed mostly to play their DNs and nose just like straightforward. But they were twisting and moving every single play, trying to get their linebackers involved in the run game, and safeties downhill fast.
In Houston, they don't spread out, shade a little bit. Like they stay away from Zach. I think a lot of people said, but anything different there?
They didn't change up too much, as much as I thought they would. But yeah.
Okay, anything else for Doug?
Thank you, Doug.
All right, thank you, sir.